Hello, everybody. My name is Rosalie Arevalo, and this is my research poster. The title of my research poster is Visual Dynamics, Paratext, and Poetic Language in Kwaim Alexander and Kadir Nelson's The Undefeated. I apologize in advance for the mispronunciation of the names. So I decided to include both of my research questions, the broad and specific. The broad says, how can the imagery in Kwaim Alexander and Kadir Nelson's The Undefeated push the need for diverse books in schools? And I included my specific, how do visual dynamics, paratext, and poetic language function in Kwaim Alexander's and Kadir Nelson's The Undefeated? I decided to pick two quotes from two of the scholarly articles that I read. The first one reads, it is from Dennis Johnson and Melanie DeCoss's Diversity in Children's Literature. It says, simply having diverse characters or diverse issues is not enough. A book has to have the essence of truth. The second quote from Kenneth Kidd's Prizing in Children's Literature, The Case of Newberry Gold. Difference is tolerated until it threatens native soil, then it must be contained. Um, I want to go back to the first quote and connect it to the picture with the soldier holding the flag. Um, I want to read the quote again. Simply having diverse characters or diverse issues is not enough. A book has to have the essence of truth. This spread depicts a young soldier who's expressionless and holding the American flag. The American flag is tainted with this bluish and greenish color. And I feel like this passage, coupled with its image, shows the anxiety and the fear that tainted the service of Black soldiers at the time. And it visually illustrates the anguish and frustration this Black soldier has towards the United States. I mean, this young Black soldier is holding um, the flag with such a tight grip, symbolizing the inner battle that he faces having to represent and fight for a country that does not appreciate or respect him because of the color of his skin. And I think that is what is more truthful about these stories um, about Black men and women is that they're often overlooked, but they have such a great impact of the impacted the history of the United States. You know, having access to these realistic images, like the Black soldier illustrating the trauma that this community has to go through or has gone through, it shows also these exact kinds of stories that should be represented in the classroom. And it's a way of diverse learning. And I think that it's important as educators that we do not continue to contribute to the erasure of Black history because Black history is American history. And I think that that's what I most admired about this quote is really showing the essence of truth. And it's a lot of the truth that gets erased in our history. It gets erased in our public schools and even in college, I feel like. So I really love this quote and I love how it compared to the Black soldier and the spread. Moving on to the second quote, and this is one of my favorites, even from the beginning when we discussed it in class. And it's Kenneth Kidd's um, prizing in children's literature. Quote, difference is tolerated until it threatens native soil, then it must be contained. And I wanted to relate that to that spread to the right, showing a Black family of five. They're wearing black and white clothing, and each of them have a frowned expression on their face. And I feel like this passage is so significant because this passage from The Undefeated is so significant because it kind of shows the hope of a better America for Black Americans, but at the same time, like a same hope that is kind of worrisome because they don't have the power to be able to make decisions for themselves or in favor of their communities. And and the passage just says that the ones who survived America by any means. And I think that this is kind of suddenly cueing the long list of challenges and adversities that the Black community has had to face and is continuing to face in the United States. Oh, slavery and hate and racism and discrimination. they all have made it a mission for themselves to overcome that by any means necessary. And I think that that's what I admired um, from the spread, and connecting it to the quote from Kenneth Kidd's Rising in Children's Literature. Black communities are only tolerated when it benefits the economy and government. The United States was literally built on the backs of minority communities like Black families. And in turn, these hardworking human beings were thanked with abuse and degradation. And I despise that. I hate that. And that's why I picked this quote because, you know, the impact of Black Americans was so undeniable to white Americans. And that's why they felt threatened because of their potential. And by denying a Black individual their autonomy, you can contain like the quote unquote enemy. By abusing their spirits and their bodies, you can make a profit out of that. And I feel like this family represented in the picture are an example of those who survived and did all that they could to be tolerated by this country in order to give themselves and their family a chance of a better and brighter future. And I think that that's what's so important um, about this entire book. And that's why I fell in love with The Undefeated, because it was something that I had never seen before. Really, to be honest, to be quite honest, until college. It was never really discussed in elementary school or high school. It was more like white history and not like a diverse history. And then for my conclusion, I want to say conclusion slash thesis. Through the text's various significant events, you are able to fully understand the perseverance and courage Black Americans had to muster to endure the sheer volume of shame, guilt, violence, and hate that they were subjected to. Kwame Alexander and Kadir Nelson's The Undefeated illustrates through words and images the trials and tribulations Black Americans faced in the United States throughout history. Through The Undefeated, by carefully and thoughtfully analyzing each illustration and passage, I was able to literally understand the Black community, their raw human experience. Um, I was able to take what I have learned and use it to further advocate through my career as an educator. And I feel like hopefully through my own efforts as an educator and my effort to teach my students about this lost history, about the essence of the truth of American history, that they won't able to that they will not forget it, and that they may be able to tell stories and be able to impact and create change in our future generation. Um, and then my final remarks, I enjoyed The Undefeated. It was an amazing book. Um, and it is something that I will have in my classroom for other students to learn about and think about um, just their stories, their communities. Thank you so much.